will be doing our best to get every single event recorded and put up there for you. My name is Juliana Lopez. I am the 2025 OKC Med Week Chair. And thank you, Ernest. You rock. Thank you. And we also have a ton of committee members here today. So if you're a committee member, just raise your hand. We want to give you a round of applause and some recognition. Awesome. Thank you. And Jessica is here, a committee member as well. So before we get started, just a few housekeeping things. Please make sure that you have scanned that QR code to check in, because every time you do that, and it's the same form every single time, I apologize, but every single time you do that, you are helping us to collect numbers and data so that we can use that to leverage even more success and partnerships for the next year. So basically, every time you fill out a form, you give us the same exact first name, last name, how do you identify, and your email. You are helping build a better Med Week. So you're really helping yourselves and you're really helping us. So let's keep it going. So also, in addition to that, we have our bingo cards. So if you do not have your bingo card already, please make sure to grab one from one of the committee members. Basically, every time you come to an event, you get a signature from a committee member. You get 5 signatures. You get to fill out the bottom part, hand it in to us, and we will enter you to win some incredible prizes. All right, we'll gamify it a little bit. So in addition to all these free, amazing resources, you also could win a prize. So be sure to get that. You can also, there's some bonuses on there if you want to look a little later. And then one more thing. Today is a really important day, besides it being the second day of OKC Minority Enterprise Development Week. It is also the day we are voting as a city on 11 different bond issues. So be sure to get out and vote if you are registered and able. The polls will close at 7, which is great because you have time between now and the next 2 events for Med Week. So you just go after lunch. So be sure to go. There are 11, all of the bond issues are separate votes on the ballot. So there's a front and a back. It looks like a lot. There's information on okc.gov/bond25. You can also scan this here. They have cheat sheets. They have information in both English and Spanish for you to share or for you to learn more about the different bond issues. But it's all information on money that will go towards infrastructure and all sorts of things for the city. So please be sure to learn more about it and get out and vote. So we appreciate your time. Thank you so much. And I will pass it over to Jessica.
Thank you. Hey friends, if you guys just came in, please feel free to get up and grab some water, grab a salad. I don't know if we talked about the restrooms, but they're just right out here to my left. Okay, so we'll get started. So on today's panel, we have Brittane with Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance. And we also have Calvin as well. And then we have Rayesha. Do you guys want to, I'm going to pass on the microphone. Unfortunately, we are sharing one microphone, but I'm going to pass on the microphone so they can talk a little bit about themselves. But before I do that, I'm Jessica Sifuentes, and I'm with OCAST. I'm one of their new programs managers. We're running some small business opportunity programs coming up here in the fall and then beginning of next year.
Hello everyone, my name is Brittane Grant. I work with Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance as their ecosystem entrepreneurship manager. I also work with the SSBCI program that we'll talk about today underneath OCAST or implemented through OCAST. So I'm happy to be here to give out all the great information.
How's everybody doing? My name is Calvin Slocum. I'm the Economic Impact Director over at Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance, and I'm also a real estate professional, so I'm just excited to be here and give you guys some actually what our fund does. So.
Good morning. My name is Rayesha with Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance. I am the revolving loan fund coordinator, so do all the processing, the underwriting, and getting businesses access to capital.
Thank you. So we do have some premeditated subjects that we thought and topics that we thought were going to be really important to address today for today's group. But please feel free to interrupt us or stop us for any questions or follow-ups that you may have. So starting with our first question is, what is the revolving loan fund at Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance, and how does it work? We're going to let Calvin answer this one.
So the revolving loan fund at Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance is basically a debt fund that is meant specifically for minority business. So think of it as an impact fund. So I look at deals, and I still look at deals like a bank, but I have lower underwriting criteria. So lower debt service coverage, there are no minimum credit scores, things like that. But right now, our dollars are really specific to Northeast OKC and Ward 7. So when I say that is that we like to see impact in predominantly Black communities, Black owners, minority owners, and good solid businesses that are creating jobs, preferably in healthcare, childcare, things of those nature, but full-time job creation is really the focus of the fund. Because when we talk about economic development and the way we see Northeast OKC and specifically Ward 7 going, we think about all the things that we want to see there. And all the things that we have going for our city, underwinning the championship, growing population, Hispanic population that's doubled in the past 10 years, and all the investment that's been invested in our city through the MAPS Forward program. So it's creative finance at the end of the day, so I still look at deals like a bank, but really looking at ownership and the impact on the community.
Thank you, that was great. Impact funding. Okay, second question. What exactly is SSBCI TA support? And we're gonna give this one to Brittany.
All right, so SSBCI, it is a it's a U.S. Department of Treasury. So it is the State Small Business Credit Initiative Program. So it is administered by OCAST. And then the OMFA program has the opportunity to be able to give TA services, so technical assistance. So we help businesses and entrepreneurs that come through our funnel, that come through our pipeline, with exactly that, technical assistance. So whether you need marketing help, whether you need a business plan, if you need legal support, we partner with OCU Law to help you with that, those legal questions and that support. We also have HR and operation function, so if your business has any barriers in these different areas like marketing, but our biggest thing is access to capital. So when you think about our minority businesses, that is one of our biggest barriers, and that's access to capital. So we want to make sure that we eliminate any of those barriers. So if you are a business and you have bookkeeping, and that's a barrier for you to go get a loan, so our TA support will help you partner with a consultant or bookkeeper, CPA, to be able to get you over those, get you over that barrier so that you can get access to capital. So that is the major functionality of the SSBCI program.
Awesome, thank you. Do we have any questions so far? Okay. How do revolving loan funds and SSBCI support work together? And when should a business use one versus both? We're gonna let the team answer this one together.
Okay, so what did you say the question was again?
So how do revolving loan funds and SSBCI support work together?
So we have like this partnership of like in our ecosystem. So we say we have this ecosystem of partners and resources and individuals, businesses, organizations that help each other out. So with us, it's almost like a two partnership, like ecosystem. You come down what we call a funnel, and you get, an assessment. You come, you talk to me, I figure out, what's going on, what is a barrier in your business, and then we have what we say our funnel meeting on Thursdays. And so I talk to our leadership about the businesses that are coming through our funnel through the process and what their barriers are. And if their barriers, 9 times out of 10, is access to capital. And that's where our revolving loan fund comes in, and I'll let Calvin and Rayesha talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, so to piggyback off Brittany a little bit, as she said, SSBCI casts kind of a wider net than we do. They're statewide. We have a specific community we're looking to impact and a specific geographic area. So there's overlay, but we have more of a hyper focus in Ward 7 with minority business owners. And that doesn't mean that if you're white, you can't come get money from me. Like if you're white and you're building housing in Northeast OKC or Ward 7, I still want to look at your project. But we just have a more hyper-focused impact area than SSBCI. So they kind of go together, but they don't. If you come see Brittany and you need TA service, but I'm like, their project is all the way out in Yukon, then you might not be able to get dollars from me necessarily, but you can still get services from Brittany. And then I'll say, what was the second part of that question? I'm sorry.
When should a business use one versus both?
I think that kind of depends on what your objectives are. I've had a guy who, 10, 15 years operating a construction company, he didn't necessarily need TA services, but he needed capital. Or maybe your project is really hyper-focused in Northeast OKC or Ward 7 like we like. Or maybe you're not capital ready at all, like you're in the infant stages of your business, so it's like, hey, you're maybe not a good fit for the revolving loan fund, but Brittany can help you with some legal or some accounting services or things of that nature. So I think that would kind of be a big determination on which way you go. Some days, we can both help you. Sometimes it'll be one or the other. So
This statewide, can everybody hear me without the mic? I feel like we just keep. So like this statewide, I will project. This statewide, so SSBCI, we can help anyone in the state of Oklahoma, whereas like Calvin said, he is very centered in a mission aligned with Northeast Renaissance and their Ward 7 issues. So that same business that didn't think that they needed TA service later on came back and was like, well, actually, I do have a legal question. And it's like, well, I'm not a lawyer, let me go ahead and refer you to OCU, where we have a partnership with them. And that relationship is they have their students have a certain amount of hours that they have to put in. And so they will help and kind of go over what those questions look like, your legal questions, and then they are passed on to a lawyer in that same discipline. So lawyers are required to have a certain amount of pro bono hours. And so that's how we partner with OCU Law. So you get partnered with the student helps in their, to help for them to graduate, and then a professional lawyer that's in that discipline or that study of law will definitely look over that and make sure it's legally sound, and that's how they get their pro bono hours. So we partner with their student center to be able to do that and to get those questions answered. So sometimes you think you may not need TA services, but you actually do. So use them and utilize them. So when you come through our funnel, you have those resources at your disposal.
And I don't want to go off script, but you want to speak on kind of like the things they need when they come see the RLF, like what we asked for initially, and what gets people the biggest, like, no, you're not ready.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that gives people the biggest no is their financials aren't in line, or they haven't filed their tax returns. So the things that we typically look for, you're gonna need at least 2 years of tax returns, your cash flow statements, your balance sheets, profit and loss statements. Business plan is a big thing too. Not everyone has a business plan, so that's when technical assistance would come back into play. If we need to say, hey, we need this business plan, what are you trying to do? If you don't have one, then we can get you back in touch with Brittany and kind of she can connect you with someone to get a business plan. So basically, financials are the biggest things that you need to have in line.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any startup, starting a business? Is there any grants being available for startup?
So the grant piece there, so SSBCI for us is strictly like TA. So we will pay for the consultant to do some things for you, like the bookkeeping piece or the business plan. So we pay on your behalf for your business to be able to overcome that barrier. As far as grants are associated, neither one of our organizations do grant, but we can kind of help you kind of figure out, just because we want to see your businesses grow. So as far as like startups businesses, like Northeast Renaissance specifically has an accelerator program. And so we won't say like it's an incubator for a person that just has like a concept for a business. Like we would refer you to like SVDC. So Greg Jones that's here, like he will help you be able to figure out a concept of your business, how to get it off the ground, and then from there you'd probably say, hey, now that you're ready and you're done with this portion, go see Brittany. And then after you see Brittany, we connect you to all the resources. We're creating this foundation for you guys to succeed. So it's this real ecosystem of partners to say, okay, you have this concept of a business idea. How can we help you grow it? How can we give you a foundation? You need a business plan. You need someone to help you strategize or build this plan for your business to be able to be sustainable. So after that, let's go see Brittany. And then after Brittany and we connect you to all of these different resources, then it's like, okay, now you're ready for capital. Go see capital.
Yeah, and I would like to add on to that. I know, times have changed. We all know that when it comes to grant money and the soft funds. One thing I'll say is, even if you're in the early stages and you need help, like we have free resources, our business boosts, which are an extension of our cohort. So even if you don't get in a cohort, come to the business boost. And one of the reasons I say that, I have 2 people who got funded because me and Rayesha noted that they came to every single business boost. So that speaks volumes to us as, having limited capital and needing to decide who gets it. Like, hey, they're serious about learning and putting processes in place for their business. So that goes a long way with us when we see you taking advantage of those free resources. We personally teach a class about leverage, how you access capital, the documents you need, things like that. I know Shannon taught a class about business plans and how you get those together, and you can even pay her to consult to get your business plan together, and that feeds into kind of the capital access piece. So I always always stress that even though the grant money is gone, still kind of show up, meet people, talk to us. So when you come down that funnel, it's like now I can put a face to a name. And that helps in the underwriting process, because the biggest thing we talk about is character, so.
And our SSBCI program, like our business moves, like Calvin mentioned, every 2 weeks at Northeast Renaissance on Thursdays, I'm sorry. And so we have a different topic that aligns with our SSBCI really trying to get you to capital. We had one that was like on AI, and the room was just amazed on like how they can use AI to promote or to help their business in a healthy way, not just like, oh, we're all afraid of AI coming to take jobs, which, may be the case, but you wanna make sure that you're using AI smart. And so like, that's one of our topics. Calvin and Rayesha come and they talk about access to capital. We have Ray Fitzgerald from TEDC out of Tulsa that comes and talks about, his capital in their SSBCI program. They have their partner underneath our SSBCI umbrella, and they have way more capital than we do to be able to give out. And so we just make sure that we give you guys the resources. Like we're paying these individuals and these speakers to come in and talk to you all about your business and how you can grow and sustain your business.
And that's on Thursdays, you said?
Yeah, so did everybody sign in, like a sign?
Yes, everybody checked in. If you
With
have
like-
not checked in, there's a QR code running around on tables. So check in, because they'll have information that they can follow up with you directly if you provide your email address on there.
Yeah, we can send that out and put you guys in our ecosystem. That way you have access to the funnel, you have access to me and Calvin and Rayesha, and then to those business boost classes.
And I think once you guys, if they agree, you'll get information about all of our programs, home buyers program, not just small business. So I highly encourage y'all to sign up and stay in the loop about everything coming out of our ecosystem, so.
Thank you, yeah. So I think keynote here is, don't self-select yourself out from these resources or programs. Definitely, connect with your ecosystem, which partner you complement with the most. And they will fill you in on what these programs are, how to connect the dots, and how they can all complement each other. Our next question is, who qualifies for RLF funding and who qualifies for SSBCI programs?
So, and I might sound like I'm backtracking a little bit, but RLF cast a wide net too. And when I say that, I use the word minority. We are a Black-led organization, so that's who we look to serve first, but we're also in conversations about how to impact the Southside community, the Latino community. Daniel Garcia, he's in the room, he sits on my loan committee. I had a woman who was a woman, white woman, her business was in UConn. So I looked for different ways to qualify my project, but we have a scale on how we value those. And if you're on the Northeast side or Ward 7, you get the highest rating. So we really look for something called credit elsewhere. If you're telling me you're bankable, you got 3 term sheets from Bank First, Bank of America, you're probably not for me. I'll probably look to give that capital to somebody else who really needs it, who's really in a phase where, the bank isn't really dealing with them, or maybe they have a project that's really meeting our impact metrics. We're not here to hit people over the head with high fees, high origination points or interest. It's really about impact to us. So I would stress that Ward 7 is my biggest focus right now. But as we continue to expand our balance sheet, look for other places to lend, we look at designated census tracts. And we also look at what the data said. We know that every Black person doesn't live in Northeast OKC. We're out in Dale City, Midwest City, we're on the Northwest side in the Village. We also have kind of participated in suburban sprawl, so we're spread out across the metro. So if you're Black and you're not necessarily located in Northeast OKC, I kind of still look at those things on this holistic scale. So I don't know if I really answered the question. Every deal is different, but yeah, we're really impact focused, I'll say that.
Yeah. As far as for SSBCI, we want all of you guys. So it depends on where you are in your journey of entrepreneurship. So if you're not quite ready for our accelerator program, but you just need access, you have a concept idea and you need access to our ecosystem partners, this is where we are able to connect you with different resources, whether it's SBDC, whether it's, hey, Brittany, I need a business plan. Shayna Lewis right here, she does our business plans for our accelerator program. So it just kind of depends on where you are. We will connect you to the right person to get to the right resources that you need. So whether or not you're, just in the conceptual phase, or you've been in the business for 25 years and you're like, hey, I want to expand. How do I start my expansion? And so we help any individual or any business that is, has a barrier to access to capital. That's our biggest thing is access to capital. If you have a barrier to access to capital, we wanna be able to help you. But we won't turn you away if you're just like, hey, I don't want a loan right now, I just need to know how to do business. So we'll help you and connect you in that regard.
I would say our biggest focus going into 2026 is housing. New construction, rehabilitation of housing. So as we expand the balance sheet, I see me over there with that. We're really looking for housing projects in Northeast OKC and Ward 7. We just consider, what does economic development look like? We have to have more rooftops if we want to support the businesses over there. We don't want high turnover in minority-owned businesses along the 23rd Street corridor. We know schools is a big thing. People are gonna be like, well, you guys are building new houses, but where am I gonna send my people to school, healthcare, childcare? So that's why I'm very impact focused. Like, what do we want our community to look like long-term as the city continues to grow, the Thunder continue to win championships, and how do we create our little mecca? We go to chocolate cities, Houston, DC, Atlanta to travel, but when people come to Oklahoma City, they're gonna be like, where are we at? Where do we go to eat? Where do we go to hang out? And we need to be thinking about that now. So that's why my fund is very impact driven.
Just a little side note too, so 23rd Street is, if you guys don't know, it's the East End district. So much like when we have like downtown district or the Paseo district, or the East End is a district on 23rd Street between both highways, so I-35 and 235. And so I am the VP of that district, and we are making sure in our work that we're doing, the economic impact, that we don't want our businesses that are in that community closing. We want to see them surviving and sustained, and so we have to make sure that with the revolving loan fund, the idea with the revolving loan fund is once they loan the money out and it's repaid, they push it right back into the community. It's not like they're making money off of it. It's not like, so we're pushing it back into our businesses, back into our communities where we live, work, and play. And so that's what we want to see when we talk about economic impact. If your business may be in Yukon, but if you serve individuals in Ward 7, that's economic impact. That doesn't just qualify you for a revolving loan fund, and of course with SSBCI it's completely statewide. So and we help everyone. You don't have to be a minority for SSBCI, but being mission aligned with Northeast Renaissance and having their program with the Moderator program and with the revolving loan fund, they kind of get a priority with us to be able to partner and work with them. So.
And yeah, I'll know you guys with the impact. Like, if you come to me and you say, hey, I'm thinking about my first brick and mortar location and I'm interested in the east side, you're shooting to the top of my list. Because that's what we want to see is more businesses opening up on the east side. And maybe I'll have some money for you for leasehold improvements to get your space ready. Like, we really, I'm directing my dollars towards Ward 7 very heavily. That'll be, on repeat as I go through this conversation.
Ward 7, what area is that?
Ward 7 is the biggest ward in Oklahoma City. I believe Ward 7 goes all the way out to Sooner Road East, all the way north to 122nd or Memorial maybe, all the way west to the Village, I believe May, and all the way south to, I don't know where the southern border is. It is the biggest ward in Oklahoma City, and it has the highest concentration of African Americans too, so that was strategic.
I have a question. I feel like y'all keep talking to me because I live in Dale City. I cook in Yukon, and I am trying to specifically get into like more of the east side because I do meal prep and I do catering. So I do two main things, but for my meal prep is where I'm trying to build, and I do like calorie count and healthy meal preps. So originally I wanted to get into the east side market because I know they have food and things like that. I wanted to bring my meal preps in there, so I haven't found an end for that yet. But how could I benefit, like, or how can I come to you all and say this is where I am? I'm all over the place. Because I'm on like Southeast 48th and Sooner. So technically my address is Oklahoma City, but I'm like right there on Dale City
outside
too.
Ward 7, I believe. Yeah, we've had a few people like that. Most recently, a child care center that was right off Sooner, just outside of Ward 7. It doesn't disqualify you. You're still black owned, but to Brittany's point, we've been working on this thing called a traceable economic impact. So maybe that's you working out a strategy to get into the East Point market in some places on the east side. Maybe you're working with some schools. I don't know what that looks like, but I think we could figure it out. I would tell you that. we fish further to trace.
Because
it
I
back,
have
so-
an idea, like a business idea. I'm really having, because for my meal prep, not for my catering, because like I said, I'm in two different lanes. But I'm really having trouble, like how to get into that market and how do I get my name where it needs to be for to benefit the people that I need it to benefit.
Are you?
Because originally, like I want to get to the point where my meal preps are offered and they're EBT eligible. That's my main thing because I need us, I don't know how to say it, I need us, our, black people to have access to affordable food, that's good food, good for you, and quick. Because sometimes we just don't have time, we're working parents and things like that, but we still have food stamps and things like that, so we can be able to buy a meal prep to have a healthy meal, opposed to just buying a whole bunch of junk food. So I'm trying to find how I get to, I guess I need to be a manufacturer and then be able to go forward. I don't know, I'm really finding, I'm stuck on where to go
You're
next.
on the right page, on the right track, and you're thinking, so I want you to switch your terminology to expanding. You're expanding your business. So you have something, you're in one lane, so don't say you're in two lanes. You are in two lanes, but this is an expansion.
Mhm.
And then we're gonna connect you. We have connections to the East Side Market. We've got one sitting in the room. So, well, we can make that connection. When we get out of here, you guys are eating East Side Market. We know the chef that's there. We've worked with Restore OKC and all of the people that are there and run that facility. So you have an ecosystem around you. You have Shayna that's here that does business plans. What I hear you saying is that I just need a plan to move forward, and a business plan is gonna help you do your projections. It's gonna help you really figure out and hone in on your craft and how to.
Like, would you all help, because I have all the ideas, to where we can put the business plan and then, like, the road to success, because that's where I'm like, I have these ideas, and if I get it out there on paper, then what? Like, where's my next logical step?
Yeah.
That's what I need help with. Like, okay, I know I want to do all these things, but how do I do all those things by myself without help? So I do a lot of networking, but I'm getting back into it because I'm trying to continue to grow my business in the same direction, but a little faster, a little further.
Business boost, I'm gonna suggest you come. There's gonna be people that you're gonna be able to connect with. There's gonna be business consultants that are there, myself, Greg. I keep saying Shayna, because they're here, we're here, our ecosystem, Northeast Renaissance is an ecosystem itself. Once you're in our funnel, you come through our funnel, you are now part of the family. So you will start getting emails, opportunities to come and to do networking. It's about things like this. Being in rooms and spaces and places like this is gonna elevate your business because you're going to meet the people that you need to connect with. You just said East Side Market is what you're eating right now. We literally, we have those resources and connections to be able to connect with you. We have to see you doing the work too. So we wanna see you at our business booths. We wanna see you connecting with us. We wanna see you, at least working on your business just as much as we're working on your business so that you can be, sustainable.
Thank you.
I'd love to add just to that, while you may be a solo entrepreneur, you're absolutely not doing it alone, because nobody can build a business alone. It takes this ecosystem. So you're part of this ecosystem just by showing up. So kudos to you. And then also, as soon as you leave this room, you're gonna have, I'm sure, so many people talking to you about all your ideas. But yeah, you're not doing it alone.
Thank you.
We got you.
Yeah, and that was a great question, because we do have a lot of established small businesses, and, they get to today and it's like, they don't really find a lot of opportunity out there. Sitting down with some of these programs, sitting down with, Calvin, understanding what they're looking for, kind of like that, what type of business, maybe you need to make a pivot, maybe you do need to expand in a different sector, but sitting down and finding out that information before you do take some of those moves, is really gonna be really beneficial for your business. So again, don't self-select yourself out, like sit down, make these appointments with these programs, find out where they're looking for, find out what you're missing, find out if you're innovative enough, find out, what you can do to become innovative or fit in the program. Really, emphasize, like you said, that roadmap to success. So I know that the entire ecosystem will work as hard as you work on your own business. So for sure, connect with us. Okay, does anybody have any other questions before we move on? Yes.
I started building houses with Oklahoma City Urban Renewal Authority, and I'm building one custom house in the northeast 15. And I've been working with the Action Center quite a bit to report problems. But one of the stuff I run into is that no matter, like, I've been trying to complain to OJ about the lights being out in front of the FD Moon Middle School. OJ still hasn't done that. I've talked to them about tree trimming, they haven't done stuff like that. How can I get someone to maybe help me push it forward? I mean, I know the city's gonna redo the streets and stuff, I'm very appreciative of that, but who else can I contact about stuff to improve the area? Because people, I mean, I bought cameras for the neighbors, and after I'm done with construction, they keep all the cameras, I bought for all of them. So that's how I'm trying to do my small little impact for them to improve security in the area. I just don't know what else I can really do in the area to improve it for the general public, that they always have a bad thing in the area, but it's not bad, like I would live there. It's just, I just don't know how to change the perception quicker.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great question, loaded question. I'm not gonna answer your question. I'm the wrong guy to ask that one, because I have an issue with code enforcement and kind of how they handle things on the northeast side, especially in the winter time. It just seems like our community always has more eyes on it. So yeah, do you have a way to answer that question?
I have a suggestion. So each, been hearing this term wards, has a city council person.
Right.
That would be a great place to start, because that city council person is the person that has direct access to the action center.
Okay.
So that would be a great place to start, and then the area you're in, look to see if there is a neighborhood association in that area.
Yeah.
You've been hearing this term, Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance, and so there's a term out there, neighborhood coalition. So there's an organization that has about 16 or 17 neighborhoods that they coalesce with together, and so that would be another resource. But you're right, there's a lot of issues going on. I do a lot of reporting through my OKC Connect app, and I keep reporting things, so it's documented that they have those reports. And that's the information that you can talk to your council person about. Hey, this keeps coming up, I reported it, it's documented, but I seem to not be getting any traction. I've had my own situation happen where there's a lot of parked cars on streets.
Okay.
I parked a car, I put my car from my driveway on the street to get my roof replaced. 3 days later, I had a ticket on it. 3 days after that, it got towed.
Oh.
So I understand what you're feeling, right? It happens to be that in certain areas, they do have more eyes on that. So, but there are opportunities where you can report those things and talk to your city council. That's where I would start.
There's also another question I have. Since I'm building in the northeast side, is there any grants people can guide to just when they're buying from that area? Because I've had a lot of people approach me about my designs, and I just don't know where people can go to help get them grants besides the normal OFA and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, you took the two I was gonna say. When it comes to grants for home purchase, OFA is gonna be the biggest one. I know specifically there are gonna be a lot that are lender specific, especially with the larger banks like Chase and Arbis based on location.
Oh, really?
So I would definitely reach out to some mortgage lenders, and they would be able to tell you anything specific to that neighborhood or that area. Because I do know there are still some grant dollars for closing costs, and you're a real estate professional, you know, sellers are giving incentives, things of that nature. But specific to the east side, I could connect you to two mortgage brokers, or two mortgage bankers rather, that have incentives for the east side for sure.
Really? Okay. I'll be happy to help, because I'm a mortgage lender myself, but my main goal is to sell the property, not try to make money on the mortgage.
Right.
Yeah.
So, no, that makes sense.
I remember you came to my affordable housing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I listened. That's
yeah,
what I
you
heard.
did. So y'all, he's in it. I think that affordable housing stand, we had about 7 home buyers that came like specifically in the northeast side, so there was some impact. So thank you for being here.
No, I mean, one of the houses I built is already got sold before it was finished, and it was someone in the community who was a granddaughter of the person who was living next to it. So it's very odd that we're building a $300,000+ home in front of an $80,000 home, and it's actually beneficial for the $80,000 home. Yeah, but it's incredible because people do want to live there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think that's a good point, man. I think when we're talking about our own people, like some of us, we flee to the suburbs too, but realizing the importance of preserving our own communities. And some people say, well, man, the price is the prices. it is not gonna get any cheaper. I'll tell you that, and then 10 years from now, when none of us are over there, and it's nice and it's adjacent to downtown, people are gonna wish they bought property over there. So I will annoy you with that because it's already here. We've watched the price double in the past 5 years, especially during the pandemic boom, so.
Yeah, and one other suggestion group that you can connect is Oklahoma City Beautiful, OKC Beautiful.
Oh, what is it?
They do a lot of different missions and projects, but just being able to start connecting with them and advocating for the northeast side and see if there's, they have their own ecosystem in that sector of, keeping the city beautiful.
I went to the neighborhood association, but they weren't really helpful in trying to get I wanted to get the neighborhood signs put on top of the stop signs and those signs, but I didn't know how to really go about that because the neighbors and I have become friends and they're open to that. I just don't know how many signatures I need or stuff like that.
Is it like the neighborhood housing service?
That's it, yeah, what do
Okay.
you keep those signs?
I can connect you with my contact. I'm actually the director of our homeowners association, like neighborhood watch.
Oh, okay.
So they provide like those signs for us. They have, they also have some programs that help with lighting. For example, they'll say, hey, if you put in a $1,000 investment, the program will put in the other $1,000 investment and try to get you, a street light or something like that. So I can connect you with the contact that I work with directly. Yeah. I am gonna skip down to a couple questions down just so that we can end a little bit early so you guys can have time to mingle and talk and connect. But one of the questions that I thought was really important is about tracking and data. What performance metrics or outcomes do you track under SSBCI TA? And then also if Calvin wants to share data and outcomes that they also track.
So under SSBCI, I grabbed the mic like.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, we want to make sure like our impact is great. So we track how many businesses so 65 businesses a quarter is like our goal. So making sure that we are connecting you guys to resources, and that's just a number that under SSBCI and OCAST that we want to track. So 65 businesses, and then we have over 100 hours per quarter that we want to track as well. So those 100 hours they come in our accelerator program, they come with our TA, with me doing one-on-one coaching with our businesses. So when you come and do an assessment with me, that's considered our one-on-one coaching. We talk about how we can get you access to different resources. And we also have our business boost classes, which are about an hour and a half for networking, and then for an hour for our speaker to come and like talk to you. So we track those in different ways. Also, those hours can come in the form of the consulting hours. So when you're talking to a consultant, if we pair you with a CPA, if we pair you with a marketing person, or the time that you're spending with OCU to figure out your legal questions, we're tracking all of that, those metrics and those data, where you're coming from, what your business is, your NAICS code. Does anybody know what NAICS codes are? Like your industry. We track what your industry is. If you are a minority business owner, we definitely want to make sure we're tracking. There's no tracking of that in Oklahoma. If you want to go pull and see how many black businesses are opening in the state of Oklahoma, you can't find that information out, because when you register your business, it doesn't ask you your minority, or if it doesn't ask you your race or ethnicity or things like that. So there's no way of tracking that. So we've got to make sure that we're tracking that data so that we can help our ecosystem, and we know how many businesses are opening up in specific industries. Mention manufacturing. We have so many people that are coming down our pipeline. It's like, this is manufacturing, and what are we doing for our minority-owned manufacturers? What does that look like in our space? Like, we're finding out that this is a niche market that we need to solve a problem in. And so if it wasn't for programs like we have that are tracking or figuring out, doing assessment with these businesses and figuring out what their needs are, we may not have been like, hey, this is something that we need to pay attention to. We've got a Good Girl Chocolate. Has anybody heard of Good Girl Chocolate?
Yes.
Love her. Good Girl Chocolate. She's a manufacturer. She's a black manufacturer in this space. So we have an apothecary, Sage and Elle. They are a manufacturer of like soaps and all of the things. Like, how do we help these creators or create spaces? But if we didn't have programs like this that are helping us track that data, then we wouldn't know that there was an area that we needed to step in and to help like black manufacturers. There's a a gentleman that does barbecue sauce, Ransom Barbecue. He's come through our pipeline. He's in manufacturing. So how do we create these spaces for our manufacturers to go? So if we weren't collecting this data, it's really important for us to understand. So when we're asking all these questions, it's for not only to be able to be compliant with our metrics, but we're really trying to create solutions for problems that you may not see on the surface value, but we recognize like we've got 4 or 5 manufacturers, black manufacturers, but how can we create a space for them on the northeast side? That would be absolutely amazing. So we capture this data so that we can try to find real problem solutions.
Everything Brittany said, she just identified why we track data. We recognized a big hole when it came to manufacturers. And Good Girl is a perfect example. I've been with Ren for a year and a half now. Good Girl was one of the first businesses I talked to. I'm just now funding her this month. So she stayed the course, continued to stay involved with us, and it will be one of our largest investments that we're making, because how many black manufacturing companies do we have? How many jobs can she create, especially if she goes the way that she's thinking about going? So like, and she's interested in being a board 7, so like that's an investment that I want to make. I'm just not willing, want to make. I would invest in her business personally, you know what I mean? I would say that. And to top onto what Brittany said, like you have these high level impact metrics, but then getting into the weeds is how many people have we served? If we're a capacity builder for you and gave you capital, how many people have you served? How many units have you built? How many jobs did you create? So when we talk about those impact factors, our community benefits agreement, when you come to me and say, hey, I have this business and I'm projecting to create two full-time jobs, quality jobs too, emphasis on quality. We don't consider a minimum wage job quality. You know, can this person be employed and can they go afford the average housing unit, whether they're buying or renting, you know, on this side of town? So emphasis on quality, like those are the things we look at, and like I've told you this whole time, Ward 7, impact, long-term impact, job creation's at the top of the list. But that is what we track. And we track those because the more impact we have, the more dollars I can go raise to lend to more businesses, so.
Our next question has to do with how do we see these programs evolving over the next 3 to 5 years in Northeast Oklahoma City Renaissance service area?
Let's pause really quick and clear those notifications. Read it first, then clear it.
She's like, what do you first?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I know you guys track all this data of black-owned, minority-owned businesses. Is there a way that we can, see that data as well, so that we, so that we know what's out there in our community, so that we can also help advocate? I'm sure many of us want to partner.
There's a dashboard that's being created. It's in the works. So go ahead, Ernest.
So back when I was somewhat involved with the minority chambers of commerce, you know, with Black, Asian, and Hispanic, and Native American, one of the issues that we could respond to, but it's never got ground on, is getting the minorities identified on the Secretary of State application for registration. And for some reason, those were removed not too long ago. So what I would propose is that we file a campaign to get those questions, identifiers, back on the Secretary of State identification list. So, but we have to campaign the Secretary of State.
Yeah. I mentioned that earlier, there's no indicator. So when you're applying for a business, there's no indicator of what minority looks like, you know, what business is, whether you're Black, Asian, Native American. So we want that back because we want to make sure that we're tracking that data. We don't want to segregate ourselves, or we don't want to put ourselves in these silos, but that information is very important when it comes to economic impact, when we're going after grants and we're trying to figure out where our dollars are kind of growing and our jobs are being created. So there is a push for that through the Black Chamber right now to create a dashboard. And we want to partner with our other minority chambers to make sure that they're feeding in that information too. So I am sitting on some of those committee boards right now, so I can tell you that the conversation is going. There's also legislators that are in those conversations that can run legislation on making sure that that is, and the interim studies on the impact and what that could kind of look like. So next session, you may see something that's coming out of our legislature that is asking for those types of information and data.
And to add to that, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, everything Brittany said, we're working on a dashboard. We've also talked about like a periodic event. We had a State of the East Side, I think last year, that was very well attended. And for minority communities, like who's putting out the information that talks about the economy at a high level. Black women are leading layoffs right now. Black unemployment is a problem. Like who is talking about those things in minority communities? That is information we want to make available. And I know going into 2026, Northeast Renaissance will have its own impact report that'll be made public. So I'm definitely open to sharing those things because we know that data is dangerous. When we're able to paint the picture through data, that's how dollars get raised, that's how things change, and that's why you kind of see this attack on, DEI or whatever you want to call it. So.
Yeah, one more place to look is, I know like, for example, our agency, the Department of Commerce, and then other agencies, they do surveys, so look for those impact reports, that they put out yearly. And some of that data is found on there, and if you ever wanna have a follow-up with those agencies, organizations, you can, totally reach out to them. But that data is being collected, and like they mentioned, we are actively working on how to make that data more transparent and visible, not just for legislation or Congress or what, where the funding is coming from, but to actually show the people where we're at and what the impact in the community is doing. So those impact reports do have, yes ma'am.
Hi, I just have just a quick question. So, by the way, thank y'all so much for the value and the information that you guys have put together for us. Myself personally, it is definitely valuable. I wanted to make mention of something that was said earlier, even from his perspective too, right? Especially when it comes to education. One of the things that I've realized in my field is thriving businesses require thriving students, right? Because somebody has to be employed, right? And so I have heard a lot of the economic impact that you guys have thought about. Is there a similarity on the educational side of, because I'm new here, right? But the educational side where they are also wanting to impact the students, so the elementaries, middle schools, and the high schools in that area to make sure that as a whole we're growing together.
Yeah. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
That's like specifically focused on Northeast Oklahoma City?
Specifically, yeah, because from what I've heard, the focus is Ward 7 and Northeast, right? From what I've heard, what I know from my own experience is that business and education has to be raised at the same level.
It's a workforce issue, yeah.
It's a workforce thing. So when you talk about schools, like we want our schools to be great in our neighborhood so that we have a great workforce. And so you're training and you have career techs that are in your areas as well to be able to train a good workforce. But we're also looking at businesses that are creating those jobs so that we have a whole you're talking about economic development. So that goes, that spans out to education, that spans out to workforce development, that spans out to housing, rooftops, and businesses. So when you're thinking about economic development as a whole piece, like all of those things are interconnected with each other, like very dependent on one another. So we want to make sure our schools obviously are strong, and so we have a good workforce. But we do have programs like the Urban Bridge, so Northeast Renaissance. The Northeast side, I will say like the Urban Bridge, like they mentor and they have programs for their kids that are maybe teaching them coding. They may have someone that's coming in that's teaching them, different areas of interest, for them to pique their interest, because you can't be what you can't see, right? And so you do have entities and individuals and organizations that are coming into the schools with after school programs that are in our schools on the Northeast side. But there is a focus, there has to be a focus on our young kids, because our workforce is our next people, that are working our jobs. So specifically, I can't say like these are the programs that are out there, but I can say that there are after-school programs, there are organizations that are taking a focus for our workforce development and our young kids on the Northeast side.
And I'll add to that, if you had a business that was a capacity builder, I know Rayesha, if you wanna speak on Empathy Ed was a business that we funded that was literally training CNAs at a high rate. So great impact story, and a lot of the talent they were training was right out the east side. So if you had that type of business, like, we would definitely be interested if it flows into the education and workforce readiness piece. We're talking to a business who wanted to train IT experts, because people didn't realize, like, hey, if you get this certification, entry-level salary is $50,000 to $60,000 a year, and like, how do we get our people hip to that? So definitely interested in funding businesses that are building capacity for others to enter the workforce and increase their incomes too. I don't know if that answers your question, but definitely.
What I will say, also the state does have a focus on STEM, specifically in our younger generations in aerospace. So there is a lot of programs out there, you know, Oklahoma Innovation District puts on a lot of those as well for the children. OCAST does a lot of that for STEM education, and we focus on, again, just lower education, middle schools, young kids. So that's always a resource there as well. And then for adults, I did want to mention, the state of Oklahoma also has a contract with Google. I don't know if anybody is very familiar with it, but it's called Grow with Google, and it's available to all Oklahoma residents. You don't have to be a state employee. There's about 7 certifications that are out there that, again, these are trending topics. These are trending subjects that the state has identified that we don't have enough skill in. So we're either, we get our own residents leveled up, or we're gonna have to bring people from other states and cities and then start providing those incentives. So check out Grow with Google, do some research on there. If you need help connecting directly to it, I have personal experience on how to do it, so I can guide you through that website.
Greg, I think you had something.
Yeah, I just wanted Shani with the Urban League to talk a little bit about some of the programs the Urban League has as it relates to education.
Hi, I'm Shani. And typically, for the past 10 years, I would say, maybe longer than that, we've had workforce programs that are geared towards people who are recently released from prison. And so they'll typically be ages 18 to 24 or 18 to 26. And that program will help us pay for them to get training and certifications. Some instances, if they needed work boots, like sometimes they might need steel-toe boots, or somebody's license is suspended, or they have fees. We operate from grants that come from the Department of Labor through the National Urban League to us. And so whenever we renew at a 3 or 4 year period, some of the stipulations change. So the age range may change, and then some of the incentives that we can provide may change. But the current grant that we have, where once we help them get a job, we're also able to subsidize I don't know what they're calling it, like a subsidy payment to them if they work so many hours a week. So there's a lot of financial incentives. I think they're even doing bus passes or gas cards, and really just everything trying to encourage these people to get back on their feet. Like, don't be discouraged. There is a job for you, and we'll help you get there so you can keep the job. One of the great partners that we had is Locke. There's a guy named Charmaine. Everybody, I've seen him in some of the pictures posted. They do take some of the clients to their facilities and do on-the-job training. I can't think of the other company. They do welding training, forklift training, but a lot of manufacturing type jobs to help them get back in the workforce.
Yes, also on the east side, I forgot, I used to sit on their board, Opportunities Industrialization Center. OIC. So, and they just got some funding from Boeing, so I'm sure they're getting ready to put on some great programs, but they also have valuable resources in terms of education and skill leveling up. They're a good resource. But with all this being said, if you have an idea that's very innovative, startup in education, connect with one of us and we'd love to hear you out. So we're gonna move on to our last question. That way we can all have time to introduce ourselves and network. Our last question is gonna be, what advice would you give a business owner right now preparing to seek funding or support via revolving loan funds or SSBCI technical assistance?
Be prepared. Come to Business Boost. Know what you're doing when you apply for credit. I always tell, I'm speaking to my people, you know, like, don't look incompetent. Know what you're asking for. Don't come ask me for $500,000 and you haven't even made 10 grand on your bottom line. Know what your income expenses are, and if you don't know, go get help. There are no dumb questions. Like, that's literally what we're here for. We'd love to talk to you later. Like, I love what I do, so I could sit with you for an hour and just talk about your business, the direction I think you need to go. But seek out resources and be prepared when you apply for credit, because even if it's not with me, we have 5 other financial institution partners. Like, I can find you some money, but it's all about your readiness. So I think that is always my big advice is when you come ask for money, know your numbers, know your business, in and out, and when I ask you a question, be prepared to answer it. And don't take offense to it, or, it's literally an audit of your business when you come to get underwritten. So whether it's your leases, your financial statements, your tax returns, start consolidating those things, have them with you, be prepared to give them to your banker or your lender, and be able to speak on them and paint a picture on, why things happen, any material differences. So be prepared is my biggest advice.
That's pretty much where I was gonna go. Just know your business for one. That's a big thing. Know who you're catering to is another thing. But have your financials in order. If you don't know what your financials looks like, you can't paint that picture for the bank. So just kind of know what your profit margins are. Start a profit and loss statement. Make sure you're filing your business taxes. All of that. If you owe on your taxes, make sure you're on a payment plan. Things like that. Just make sure you're in a position to paint the picture of your business.
I would say, don't be afraid to ask the right questions. Like, we say that all the time. We hear, like, mentors or parents or teachers, like, no question is a dumb question, or no question is, like, a silly question. Last week, I was told, and I'm carrying this, because it's like, Brittany, are you asking the right people the right question and for what you need? Like, don't be afraid to ask for what you need, because if they can't do it, they may know somebody who does or who can to provide that. And it was such an epiphany for me. It's like, oh, I may not be asking the right questions or the right people, because I am such a person that I like to do stuff and figure it out, but it takes an ecosystem. It takes us, to ask those questions and to ask people, like, when people say, Brittany, what do you need? And I'm like, oh, nothing. This week, I need, and it's just Tuesday, y'all. And so, like, they told me Thursday, and I was like, you know what? If somebody says, like, Brittany, what do you need today? I need this and this. Like, how can you help me? What can we do? What can we do? So, how can we get this done? And so, ask those questions. Ask what you need. When people ask you that, how can I help you? Like, be very specific in that. Like, today, I want a salad. And then Greg brought in Eastside Marketplace, and we got the salad. Like, how do I? So ask those questions. Don't be afraid to ask the right question, or if you feel like it's the wrong question, we will figure it out. But before I end, I want to shout out Rayesha Chambers. She is in our accelerator program. She's with Prosperous Safeway. She's in our accelerator program, and we just kind of ended it. We have what we call an ICO at the end of this month, so I invite all of you out to just see what our accelerator program is. She will be pitching her business to the community, to investors, to everybody, and please come and ask her what she does, because we've been practicing on this for 10 weeks. So she is amazing, but this is an example of being in our ecosystem and being, exposed to all of the programs and the things that we're doing. So I'm very proud that you're here. Thanks for being
Can she just tell us now what she does?
here. Can she tell us now what she does?
Y'all go to the front.
You better mess up.
Now I'm blushing more. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brittane Chambers. I am the founder and lead tax advisor for Prosperous Financial Solutions. So we help businesses, mainly service-based businesses, make and save money through tax advisory. So we're looking for businesses who are paying about $10K or more in taxes each year, help them save some money through tax strategy.
I'm actually looking for a technical assistance provider in tax.
Hey, last thing I would say is Oklahoma City is booming, y'all. This is the perfect city to start a small business, get involved in real estate. We have the cheapest houses. We have a long way to go with education and income levels, but like, you couldn't pick a better state or city to like get active. I wouldn't have been able to do what I've done in Oklahoma City in other metros, and I think that's what has kept me here. And I just wanted to say that, like, I get information from people who don't look like me all the time. The community is like, hey, what are you working on? Like, how can I help you? So like, it's just too many resources out here. And Oklahoma City is small, and what you'll realize, especially as minorities, we're all probably removed by one person. Like, so if you don't know me, there's somebody who does know me, and we're very, very connected. So like, just get involved and like, don't be afraid to tell people what you're working on, because they will connect you, and like 9 times out of 10, you'll get what you're looking for.
Yeah, and I'm gonna end it with, these programs are evolving right now as we speak. Law is constantly changing, Congress is constantly making different decisions, funding is constantly being changed, it's being moved from bucket to bucket. So definitely educate yourself on the resources that are out there, connect with the ecosystem, but pay attention, because when these programs do come out, and if they do, if they have funding, if they have a resource attached to it, there's gonna be a purpose. So educate yourself on what that purpose that's being sought out. So I think we hear a lot of impact, we hear a lot of economic development, we hear a lot of purpose. So your average, small business, the next cookie shop, the next pastry shop, how does that make you different and more innovative? So just pay attention to the market, pay attention to the trends, educate yourself, ask those hard questions, stay close to your ecosystem, and yeah, stay out there. Do we have any other final questions? Do we wanna go around the room and everybody quickly introduce themselves?
Absolutely.
That way we can just get a chance of just everybody hearing it at once, and then we can all connect at the end.
Yeah.
Just a small intro. Okay, do you wanna start, Monique?
Sure. Monique Walker, I'm with AGY, before architecture from Nova.
What do you do?
Can you repeat yourself? Me? Yes. Monique Walker. And what do you do? I work at a before architecture firm.
Architectural firm.
Art?
Yeah.
You say that real fast, like you don't want nobody to know.
All right, this table right
I was like,
here.
you already went, so.
I'm Yolanda Scott. I'm the founder of Bloom LLC, working on workforce education for specifically individuals with disabilities and getting them career and work ready.
Hey everyone, Toya Wood here, founder and CMO of Get to See Creative, where I help businesses basically market themselves and just show out for the cultural community.
Go ahead.
I'm Stephanie Stevens, and I own the
Childcare, nobody heard, childcare too.
My name is Rayesha. I work at the Oklahoma Department of Commerce. My other hat is I am on the advisory council of the Asian Chamber of Commerce, where I'm the program chair for the Limitless Business Conference.
My name is Asmal Maliki. I'm a home lender and I'm also a home builder.
My name is Alex Lozano. I run a tax-focused wealth management firm. I work with a lot of small-time business owners, help them make advantageous moves in preparation for tax season, and also how to acquire and maintain some key employees.
I'm Labrika. Hello, everybody. I am the owner of A Good Time Daiquiri Lounge. It is a good time. We are, anyway, I just moved into Texas. I'm also your favorite UPS girl. So I love to help businesses ship and go international and all of the things. So yeah, so that's me.
Okay.
I am Ray Brooks. I own Love on a Plate, meal prep and catering company.
I am Mia Coleman. I wear 1,000 hats. My hat today is I'm a real estate investor. I'm also a realtor with an inactive license under Calvin.
Okay, I'm Shayna Lewis. I own a business, Tailored Plans, where I help small businesses through business planning. So I help with the business plan writing and training and development so that you can scale and grow and do all the fun things that you want to do.
I'm Shawnee Newley, and I'm the Senior Vice President at the Urban League. And one of my responsibilities is over our Small Business Center, and Shayna's one of our coaches.
My name is Greg Jones. 2 hats today. I'm a business advisor with the Small Business Development Center. So your roadmap to success, I'm the guy that helps. I'm the co-pilot to help you get there. So love to connect with you. And my second hat is all the resources. Shawnee and I have been courting Verizon, the phone company, the last year or so, and they have an excellent small business digital platform that's free and no cost. And by getting on that platform, they do offer some grants once a quarter. So you need to connect with Shawnee or I after this and make sure that you get signed up for this free resource about 300 or so different classes that they have on the platform. One of our goals in 26 is to get some of our entrepreneurs on the platforms as coaches. And so we have some valuable information that we can also share that we also want to be on that platform as well.
And we thank them because they are a sponsor of Med Week. I'm Juliana. I am the chair for Minority Enterprise Development Week. I am also the founder of OKC Latina, a community for Latinx, Latina people in Oklahoma City and beyond. And we curate third spaces for people to feel more connected to both their culture and their city.
Hi, I'm Ozzy. I own a Latino-owned cosmetics brand called Brittane Beauty. Not only do we provide high-quality products, but we champion diversity, inclusivity, and I also specialize in digital marketing.
Hello, I'm Patrice Bell. I'm the owner of LL Solutions, where we help CEOs who are scaling figure out how to get out of the weeds. So we help put together business processes and procedures so that you can focus on being a CEO while your business runs. I also own LL Productions, where we curate unique event experiences here in Oklahoma City and beyond.
Makiba?
My name is Makiba Griffin. I work at a state agency, OCAST. I'm the communications manager, public information officer. I also have a small business. My business name is Makiba Design and Prints, and I'm co-chair of marketing for Med Week.
I'm Cassie Chauncey, and Prashana invited me to do a wonderful job. I own Hat Consulting, which I thought was kind of funny. What is the hat thing? It's human resources and training and development. So I guess I've been in business for about a year, and I help people with human resources and work scaling. So
Thanks for coming. Thank you for coming. And thank you again to Greg for being our lunch sponsor. The food was amazing. Thank you everybody for coming out. If you haven't checked in, please check in so we have your data.
Yes,
Do you want this?
Oh, keep stop that. Thank you.